I hate this. I like to torture him.
Loosh is emotional energy or life force that is generated by sentient beings, especially humans, during negative, traumatic, or emotional experiences. This negatively charged energy is produced when feeling threatened, harmed, tortured, or killed. This energy is exploited, harvested, and ultimately consumed by negative, malicious, and demonic entities.
Hello to all of the sparks out there in the Matrix. And the reason that I call you guys fellow sparks is because I believe we're all sparks of God. We're all sparks, our souls from a creator source. Actually, that's what our souls are. But there are different levels, right, of belief. I'm going to start getting into some little bit deeper, go down the rabbit hole a little bit further with some of these things. A lot of people understand that there's fear, right? There's different levels of emotion and energy that we all have and that we all emit. When you're happy, you kind of have a different air about you. You can kind of tell when somebody's in a bad mood or if somebody's in a happy mood. So many times without them even talking, because they're giving off a certain energy, right? Okay, Loosh is actually an energy that comes off of a person when they're in a very fearful, frightened, depressed state of mind. A certain negative energy emits from us that is actually called Loosh. I remember when I heard that, it's like I didn't know it had a name. You know what I mean? You start to go a little deeper with things. There's actually a name for it. And sadly, what it is it's food. It's an actual food source for evil, for negativity. You can call them demons. You can call them, a lot of people understand that there's a fourth dimension. There's different dimensional layers beyond the third dimension. If you understand the ascension process that we're going through, we're hopefully getting to the fifth dimension. When you sleep, the astral plane, Ouija boards, right? They say not to mess with the Ouija boards because you're dealing with entities and spirits that are lower level, that are probably not the friendliest or the nicest. Well, sadly, this is actually true. It actually exists. There's a level right above us, right next to us, you could almost say around us all the time, that are influencing our thoughts, that are feeding off of us to a certain degree. And here's the good news. It's like if you let it happen. And just like anything else, if you're aware of it, then you can do something about it. And that's kind of what this video is for. Because the higher you raise your frequency, the more you pull away from these lower level entities. And again, just like you can call God anything you want, you can call negative spirits, evil spirits, demonic spirits, you can call them anything you want. They exist and they go back to the beginning of time. And if you go about knowing about them and kind of consciously pushing them away, it is a way to combat their susceptibility. I remember hearing that a lot of negative spirits hang out in bars, believe it or not, because when a person gets inebriated and they get drunk, they become more susceptible to these negative entities that kind of feed in and see a way in to kind of, again, not completely take them over. It's not like it's a demonic possession, but to a certain degree, they can supposedly take get your drunk feeling from you. Same thing with drug addicts and things like that. The only way to protect yourself is to kind of be aware that we are very powerful creator beings having a soul. And we're a food source to negative beings that actually, again, feed off of it. They literally are called, they're parasitic in nature. They feed off of our fear. And so a lot of times when you're having, a little negative thought in your head, take that drink or, do that bad thing, or it's like, yeah, you are, not such a good person, or, that like helps you beat yourself up. It's a good chance that it's really not you thinking that you got a negative entity or a negative spirit that's kind of egging you on. And so sometimes being aware of that is a way to kind of push it away. Same thing, a lot of these like ghost hunters and stuff that go to these different places, you could be bringing home attached negative spirits. But suffice to say, they're pretty much all around, and that's why literally visualizing a white light around you is a good thing to do. There's reasons to raise your vibration. Um, to think positively. Now, if you're listening, think about it, to negative music, and that rah type of music, it's like it is of a lower vibration. And the lower you're vibrating, again, the more susceptible you are to these entities that can be feeding off of you. So just try to raise your vibration up as high as you can, because the higher you raise your vibration, the easier it is to stay there. And as you know, when you get down to lower levels of energy, it's called spiraling down. It's very easy to do. One negative thing leads to another. So if you're feeling depressed and you don't know why, you know what I mean, and this and that, well, just stop and think about some of the things that you're doing. Some of the conversations that you think you're just having in your own head, and you're in control of that. You can control your own thoughts. What are you watching on TV? That's why the news is kind of the way it is. Again, I'm trying to keep this honed into just that concept, but there's a reason that everything on the news is negative, and even some of these streaming channels. It's like every movie is about Satan. It's about death. It's about war. It's about blood. It's about gore. Even if it has kind of like a seemingly happy ending or whatever, well, if you go an hour and a half with seeing people dismembered and, their throats being cut and all of these horrible negative things, well, guess what? The negative, the evil kind of like they got you for that hour and a half, because guess what? It doesn't distinguish. Your energy doesn't distinguish between reality and something that's a movie. It doesn't. You're literally being fed off of during that hour and a half. And that's why it's not an accident, in my opinion, that all of the music these days is very negative. All of the movies are very negative. Um, People are at each other's throats. There's not a lot of positivity out there. You really, more than ever, have to kind of go out of your way to to find something positive, and stay that way. But individually, you can do it. Again, so stop listening to the horrible music and go out of your way to find the good music. Even on my channel, I've been putting a bunch of positive music. To take ownership first of all of what you're allowing into your circle. Even if it's friends, if you got a friend that's all they're doing is talking negative, or not giving you good advice, then you might want to lose that friend. It's the same thing with a family. It's the same thing if you're dating somebody. You're everyone's responsible for their own energy. So put yourself around positive people. Um, Go into nature, eating the good food, water. There's lots of different things that you can do to kind of like try and either raise or make sure you're not lowering your vibration. But like I said, just be aware that we're a food source. A lot of these things are kind of being done to manipulate us, and there are entities and beings around us. So if you put yourself in the white light, that's a good step. Do that before you go to sleep. And recognize that you could be kind of being coerced to do certain things, to do other things, to really be mindful of your thoughts and stay positive. And stay safe out there, all you sparks. We'll talk to you soon.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right.